All right, so we're preparing for the trip to Buffalo here. This is a good football team, and should be a great environment on Sunday. So it's really a big challenge for us to go up there. Obviously, the Bills are playing well in all three phases of the game. It's played well every week. Played their best football in some critical situations in the fourth quarter. Against Cincinnati, against the Jets. A lot of explosive players on offense, a lot of experience, cohesiveness, and good players on defense. Explosive players with experience and playmakers in the kicking game. So pretty solid across the board. Coach McDermott done a really good job building the team, and they played very competitively throughout preseason and in the three regular season games. So this team's really improved a lot. Certainly a lot of new faces offensively from where they started at the beginning of last year, even from where we played them at the end of last year. And they just continue to get better. So we'll have to go up there and play 60 minutes of good football. We know that.
For questions, raise your hand. I'll call on you.
Going up against a quarterback like Josh Allen, he's a mobile guy, but he's not a guy that just scrambles around. They have designed run plays for him. How difficult is that to defend? And he's a pretty difficult guy to take down.
Yeah, definitely. He's like a running back. He breaks tackles. He's got good speed, good power, and he's shifty. He avoids and breaks a lot of tackles. So, it's another dimension. Sixth receiver in the passing game, if you will, and gives another blocker in the running game when they have designed run plays for him. So they've hit a lot of critical times, a lot of big plays, touchdowns, red area, third down conversions, things like that. So they use them in some timely ways, well-designed plays that create problems for the defense. But he's adds that element to their offense, and they've used it very effectively.
There were some teams that are good on one level or two levels of their defense, but they seem to be good on all three levels of their defense. Just how good are they?
Yeah, they're really good. They're very good up front. And they drafted Oliver, who's a very talented player. Kind of replaced Kyle Williams. Hughes is always tough. Edmonds has really emerged here this year. He was good last year, but he's even better. Certainly, Tre'Davious White's one of the better corners we play against, and Hoyer, Hyde do a great job at safety with disguises and their recognition experience and let's say just cohesiveness with the defense. So they don't make any mistakes. You've got to execute. You got to handle everything they do. They don't give up much. Make you work for every yard.
Ben Bowen.
Bill, there's a report out there that you guys have signed Cody Kessler. Curious what you like about him and why the need for a third quarterback.
Yeah, whatever personnel announcements we have, we'll release through Stacy.
Ian?
Coach, what do you lose when James Devlin goes on IR, and how can you replace a guy like that?
Yeah, I think I covered that pretty thoroughly yesterday. There's nobody to replace James Devlin, so we'd have to do it with a combination of other people or schemes, because he has a role on offense and in the kicking game as well. So he's a pretty special guy that really does a great job for us. Brings a lot of positives to our team. So we don't have any one person to replace him.
Sorry, I have a follow-up from before. With Tom Brady being limited last week, and at his age, is bringing in a third quarterback necessary? Is it maybe manage Brady's load throughout the season?
No. Whatever our decisions are, be more roster management. I don't think it's that.
Aaron McKinnon.
As far as the Bills' offense goes, do you see a level of growth from Brian Daboll, over his time with the Bills? And Sean McDermott was just saying that he's learned a lot from Brian, on a day-to-day level because of the things Brian's learned from you.
Yeah, Brian's a good coach. He's been a good coach for a long time, so I don't think anything happened in the last week or two. He's done a good job when he was here, when he left here, with other teams he's been with. When he came back here, he had a lot to his staff. Went down and won a national championship with Coach Saban in Alabama. He's got 10 new starters on offense from the start of the year last year, and they're playing pretty well. So he does a good job. He's been doing a good job.
Bob Sosey?
Bill, you look at the additions they've made offensively at the skill position, the receivers in particular. What does Cole Beasley do for their offense, especially with a quarterback like Allen, to kind of complement those other pieces they've added as well?
Yeah, well, Cole's an outstanding player. He's got great quickness, can really separate, good with the ball in his hands after the catch. He's certainly a good third down player to create that separation in those man-to-man situations on third down. But he plays for him on every down. A lot in the slot, but not always. They move around, and as they do with all the receivers. They have a very good group of skill players. Foster and Brown are really fast. McKenzie's a playmaker. He's Roberts a little bit. Zay Jones is certainly a quality player, and Cole. So it's a good group.
Mike Reese?
When you think about Frank Gore and his, first of all, him as a player, but then his longevity at that position, what stands out to you, and is there someone that might come to mind, someone who's done it as long as he has at that age?
Fourth leading rusher all time in NFL history. I think that pretty much says it all right there. The guy's a great player. He's a great competitor. It's hard to tackle. He's a good football player.
Running back?
From what you've seen so far from Jarrett Stidham, what's the confidence level of him being able to run the offense in the instance where Tom Brady's unable to play?
Yeah, Jarrett's been with us, all the way through, practice every day. He's gotten, intermittently a lot of reps on the offense, depending on the situation, from week to week, preseason, regular season. Again, depending on what we were doing at that particular point in time, whether it be preseason games or training camp practices or regular season practices. So, yeah, he's coming along well.
Mark Daniels?
How was Jake Bailey's development on the bench just throughout the summer and throughout these first 3 NFL games?
Jake's a very talented player. He had a lot to work with. He came in and, has done well. Ever since he's been here, there's some situational punting that we've asked him to do. He's handled that well. He's done a good job of holding, done a good job of, kicking off when he did that in preseason. We haven't done that with him here in the regular season, but, he showed he could do that, so it gives us depth at that position as well. So, yeah, he's done a solid job for us.
Andrew?
Would you describe Coach McDermott's defense as a game plan defense? And secondary?
No.
What are the chief characteristics then of what they're trying to do?
They're well balanced. They play zone, they play blitz zone, they play man-to-man. They have a variety of pressure packages in their blitz zones, corners, safeties, linebackers. But they mix it up. They play basically one front. Two, but that's so. No, I don't think they're going to come in. Runs. Why should they? I mean, they led the league in defense last year. Led the league in pass defense last year. They're right up there again this year. They ran the same defense in Carolina. Been good for 3 years there. I wouldn't change anything. It's one of the best defenses in the league. I'm sure they make adjustments depending on who they're playing. I'm not saying that, but I don't think we're going to see 6 new coverages and a bunch of new fronts and new blitzes that we've never seen before from them. I can't imagine they would do that. They've been too successful with what they're doing.
Is it pretty rare for a team to have 2 safeties like they do that can do so much? It seems like they're interchangeable.
Yeah, they're very good. Yeah, they are. It's been like that now for 3 years, right? Whatever it is. So. And they've been doing that. They disguise. It looks like they're in one coverage and they flip it around to something else, or it looks like they're in 2 deep and they're not in 2 deep, or vice versa. They disguise very well together and are very instinctive. And there's definitely a level of interchangeability, so it's hard to key on one guy, and really both guys they complement each other well. So you got to see it post snap. They're not going to give you much pre snap. But they time up their blitz as well with the cadence and motions, things like that come with the formations. So this is a very savvy. It's a very savvy defense. I wouldn't say they're overly complicated, but they're very good at what they do. They have enough variation, and I would say, unpredictability within their system that it's hard. But I'm sure whenever they call, they've run many times before and they have a lot of confidence in, and they play with it.
How have you seen defenses defend your running game when Stoney's in the game versus maybe James White or Rex Burkhead?
You know, it depends on what the defense is and what, you know, what team we're playing. So some teams have different game plans against us based on the back. Sometimes it's based on the receiver. Sometimes it's based on down and distance, or some combination of those things. It really depends, just game to game. I don't think there's any set. I wouldn't say there's any like set formula. You'd have to talk to those teams that we've already played. Maybe they could give you some insight. I don't know, but it just depends on the way that team's playing.
Bill Dawson-Knox is a player that didn't have a lot of catches in college. In fact, just caught his first touchdown pass since high school. How impressed are you with the way they utilized him so early in his NFL career, and kind of on a broader level, the jump from college to the NFL for the tight end position in particular? How big is that gap between what players typically in college systems are being asked to do as tight ends and what's required of them at the NFL level?
Yeah, well, I'll start with, I think Coach Daboll's done a good job of utilizing all of his skill players, receivers, tight ends, backs, quarterback, obviously, but the other skill players to do what they do well. So things that they do well, he's put them in positions to do. Maybe some other things that other players do better, he lets them do them. So, he's used Knox in a very productive way. He's put him in some good positions, and he's been effective. Knox has been effective in that. The offense has been effective. Allen's hit him. So, I think it's good. It's a good player. It's a good scheme. Coach Daboll's done a good job putting those guys in positions, as he has with John Brown and Beasley and Gore and Lee Smith and all the rest of them. He uses guys to their strengths and to attack the defense based on what the defensive tendencies are, what the matchups are. So he's done a good job of that, and definitely Knox has come through for him on a number of occasions. So they have good depth at the tight end position with the way they use them. They're all different, but they all get utilized within the offensive system. So they've gotten good production out of that position.
Aaron McKenna?
Are you pleased with how Sony Michel is playing this year? I know his yards per carry was down, but there's a lot of factors.
Yeah, no, I think when he's had opportunities and he's done pretty well with those. There's been times where he hasn't been able to get started, and that's always a problem with the running game. If you can't get him through the line of scrimmage, then it's hard to gain. You gain some yards, but it's hard. So, there are things he could do better. There are things certainly we could block better and coach better, and so we'll try to do those and get improve in every part of our offense, not just the running game, but play actions and passing game and everything else.
Your final question, Doug Kai?
I believe the majority of Sony's carries last year came with James Devlin on the field. Could James' injury have a trickle-down effect of how you guys use Sony?
Yeah, we're really a game plan type of offense, so it would just be week to week situation like it always is with us offensively. So we'll see how it goes. Depends on how we match up with our team, who's available, what their schemes are, what we think we can do, so forth. So we'll do what we always do, try to move the ball and score points, however that happens. That's always the goal.
Your final question? Andrew?
When you look at the success they've had defensively in the red zone, how much of that is fed by just their collective team speed, and if not, what are the other factors driving that success?
I think it starts with what I said earlier. It's just they make you earn every yard. They don't make any mistakes. So you've got to block them. You got to get open in tight coverage. You got to handle the pass rush. You got to deal with a variety of coverages and pressures, but certainly not all pressure. So they do a good job of keeping it moving, spinning the wheel on you, and making you identify post snap what it is. It's hard to get a good play called against their defenses. It's hard to tell exactly what they're in. They have good players, and they read and react very quickly. They do have good team speed. They tackle well, so again, there's not a lot of free plays there where, guys just miss 2 or 3 tackles and you get a bunch of yards. Like that doesn't happen very often with Buffalo. They don't miss a lot of tackles, and they have good pursuits. They have guys there that are, swarming the ball. So it's a well-coached defense with good players, with a good scheme. They're good fundamentally. So that's why they're at the top of the league every year. Okay, all right, yep, thank you.